Basketball's a game of runs, and the same way like we go on runs, they do as well. They're a great team. So I don't think it's defeating. I think obviously we know what a great shooter she is, and I think we just gave her too many easy ones. Obviously, she has great range, and her ability to get her shot off is really impressive, especially with missing some games. And so, obviously, on a personal level, I'm really happy to see her back out on the court, healthy, feeling good, because obviously it's important for them. But just for her, I'm happy she's back.
What in the WNBA multiverse is going on? Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna just hit the Caitlin Clark praise button like it's stuck on max volume. And trust us, it's louder than a New York subway at rush hour. These two went full fan mode, and it got everyone scratching their heads like, wait, are we witnessing a secret Caitlin cult? Buckle up, because this ain't your average basketball love fest. It's legendary fangirling with a twist you won't believe.
Everybody is talking about this crazy moment right here with Brianna, Stewart, and Caitlin Clark. Just saying, hey, clear the ways. I'm about to cash this thing. All right, so let's take a look at it, man, just in case some of y'all missed the game, man. Caitlin dribbling between the legs, step back. Look at the space. Look at the space, man. Look where she's at. Logo ready. Oh, my goodness. Just pulls it. Nothing but the bottom of the net. And then give her a ooh. You thought she was young and made the way she oohed her like that.
Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart might have just pulled off the greatest plot twist in WNBA history. 1 minute they're lacing up for battle, looking like they're about to bury Caitlin Clark in defensive switches and fadeaway jumpers. Next minute they're full-on fangirling, like Caitlin just dropped a surprise Beyonce album. And we're not talking passive compliments here, we're talking next level, someone hand them pom-poms energy.
Message to the team after tonight's game on what you thought they needed to hear, I guess.
I mean, my message to the team was to keep your heads up. I mean, we are now 10 games into the season and we have a long ways to go. But, you know, there was a few games early on where we kind of squeaked out wins. You know, we got away with some things and we ended up with the win. And a loss is an opportunity for everyone to kind of look at themselves in the mirror and really focus and lock in on the things that we need to get better. And this is a long season. So to think that anybody's going to go undefeated throughout the entire thing is like impossible.
But here's the kicker. It didn't feel fake. Not even a bit. This wasn't one of those we respect her talent, robotic, PR-trained post-game throwaways. No, this was two WNBA legends genuinely vibing with the rise of the rookie. Sabrina had the twinkle of admiration in her eye that said, dang, I wouldn't mind throwing lobs to her. While Brianna was out there laughing after Caitlin splashed a 3 in her face like it was open mic night at a comedy club, and Caitlin just delivered the punchline of the year.
I feel like we should talk about Caitlin Clark versus Ionescu more, because she was a dog coming out of college, and I kind of feel like she got overshadowed by Caitlin Clark coming out of college.
Yeah, Ionescu had 38 minutes, 34 points.
Yeah.
So
see, like I feel like that's the matchup that we should be talking about more.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Ionescu versus Caitlin Clark. 2
rebounds, 4 assists, though, so not as many rebounds and assists as Caitlin Clark.
Let's talk about that moment. Caitlin pulls up from a spot that should require a permit to shoot from, lets it fly, and boom, net. And instead of storming off or throwing her head back in frustration, Brianna just grins like she just lost a bet with the basketball gods. That lighthearted "you got me" laugh wasn't just classy, it was iconic. That sportsmanship so refined, it probably flosses between games.
Caitlin Clark returns, helps the Fever hand the defending champion Liberty their first loss of the season. Clark was excellent, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, had a couple of blocks. Erica, what stood out to you in her first game back?
For me, what stood out is that she emptied the tank. You know, I was on HQ earlier in the week talking about Paige Beckers, like, oh, you know, maybe she'll kind of, you know, slowly integrate in. We heard pre-game Caitlin Clark talking about that she doesn't believe in minutes restrictions. Both of these rookies today, after missing time, absolutely hit the ground running. Caitlin Clark, as we noted in the highlights, being able to just shoot at a ridiculous clip from distance, electrifying a crowd.
It's hard not to become a fan of people like that. You watch them for their skill, their dominance, their sheer ability to control a game, and then they go ahead and show you they're just as elite in character. And suddenly, you're not just watching their games, you're rooting for their wins, like you've got Brianna Stewart stock in your fantasy portfolio and Sabrina Ionescu highlights downloaded on your phone. It's wild how one moment of humility can turn admiration into full-blown fandom. Let's face it, in today's hyper-polarized sports world, grace is rare. More often than not, you get trash talk turned TED Talk, post-game shade disguised as analysis, and the occasional accidental like on a shady tweet. But these two, they just stood there after a competitive game and gave props. Unfiltered, generous, earned props. The kind that isn't handed out like Halloween candy, but only dished when someone genuinely shakes the court. And here's where it really gets good. It wasn't just a "you did well, rookie" pat on the head. It was acknowledgement from two of the most formidable names in the league. These are not casual players. They're not looking for brownie points or clout cookies. These are titans of the sport. Veterans who've carved their names into hardwood with sweat, jumpers, and trophies. And they just stood there and said, through their attitude, their body language, and their words, "You're the real deal, kid."
On the call of yesterday's Liberty Fever game and joins us now on SportsCenter alongside her dogs in the background. Apparently, they want to be in the interview as well. 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists for Caitlin Clark. This is after missing 5 games with a quad. What stood out most about Caitlin's performance yesterday?
What stood out most to me, Amina, was that Caitlin Clark, even being out for those 3 weeks, did something on the basketball court that I've never seen a player do in the WNBA, and that was that stretch that you were just talking about, that 38-second stretch where she came down and hit not just 3 threes, but 3 bomb threes. And she did it in a first quarter where the New York Liberty had an 11-point lead.
Sabrina, who's built her career on clutch moments and breaking ankles, gave that respectful nod like, all right, this one's different. And Brianna, a walking trophy cabinet, didn't need to say a word. Her post-3 grin spoke volumes. It's one thing to acknowledge a rising star, it's another to celebrate her in the middle of your own game, with the cameras rolling and the scoreboard still ticking. You know how powerful that is? That's like LeBron pulling Ja Morant aside and going, "You got next." It doesn't diminish anyone. It elevates the game. It tells the fans we see her. We respect her, and we're better because she's here. And if you weren't already a fan of Sabrina and Brianna before that game, you probably Googled their jersey numbers 5 seconds after it ended. Because it's not just about how they played, it's how they acted. That's what sticks. That's what transforms casual viewers into diehard supporters. That's what makes a highlight into a legacy. You don't often see that in elite sports. Usually, you get rivalries carved out of media hype and pettiness. But this was pure basketball goodness. This was the kind of sportsmanship you show to your little cousin who just beat you in Mario Kart. Except it was on a professional court, under blazing lights, with millions watching.
Happening in Indy right now. Rebecca, tell me, what does Clark's return mean for the WNBA?
Well, I mean, it means a lot more people are paying attention once again. We know how much Caitlin drives ratings. We know how much Caitlin drives attention on the WNBA. And for her to come back and do it in that way was just ridiculous. I mean, I'm sitting there at the end of the first quarter when she had that 38-second stretch where she drained deep 3 after deep 3 after deep 3. I was just sitting there thinking, I've been around this league since 1997. I have never seen that in a WNBA game. Have we seen players go on runs? Of course we have, but not like that. Not where a couple of the three-pointers are from 30-plus feet. It was an exhibition by her. After being out for 19 days to recover from an injury, couple that with the other passes that she made and some of the other plays, it was just ridiculous.
And the way they did it? Effortless. No diva tantrums, no passive-aggressive jabs, just the kind of quiet, confident respect that comes from people who are already legends and don't need to flex to prove it. Caitlin's three-pointer on Brianna wasn't just a shot, it was a cultural reset. It was a moment of, holy crap, she really did that, followed by a laugh that could have diffused a nuke. Brianna didn't get mad, she got it. She got that, this is what the game is about, pushing each other, respecting greatness even when it comes in the form of a dagger 3 launched from another zip code. And Sabrina? She was standing there with the kind of energy that said, "Let's go. This is fun now." You could tell she saw the future of the league playing out right in front of her, and instead of feeling threatened, she leaned in. That's what separates the greats from the gatekeepers. She didn't close the door, she flung it open and handed Caitlin a towel and a locker. Let's not pretend it's always like this. The sports world is full of fake smiles and handshake snubs. We've all seen the cold shoulders, the eye rolls, the "I'm too seasoned to care" attitudes. So when two of the game's best openly welcome the new blood, it's not just refreshing, it's revolutionary. That's the kind of shift that grows the sport, earns respect, and builds bridges instead of barricades.
But today, we saw Caitlin have an unbelievable half. And a decent second half, in my opinion. Look, 6 assists. 6 assists, again, did turn the ball over a little bit, which wasn't the greatest half, but 7.6 assists, 4 boards is not a bad half. Like, that's 14-12 if she was on for that for the whole time. That's actually, that's not bad at all, to be honest. That's really not bad at all.
And don't think for a second that Caitlin didn't feel that. You could see it on her face. That moment of recognition, of being accepted, not just as a player, but as a peer. That's worth more than any trophy. That's the invisible gold medal of belonging. And when it comes from players like Sabrina and Brianna, it hits differently. It hits deeper. Because you know it's real. You know it's earned. It also tells us a lot about Sabrina and Brianna as leaders, because being great isn't just about stats and rings. It's about how you treat the next generation. And these two just gave a masterclass in mentorship without even needing a classroom. They didn't have to do it. They could have brushed it off, let their silence do the talking. But they chose class, they chose kindness, they chose legacy. And let's just appreciate the optics for a second. Brianna laughing it off like Caitlin just roasted her at a roast battle. Sabrina with that game respects game look like she's already planning how to recruit Caitlin for a pickup game. You almost forget they're competitors, because for that moment, they looked like fans. Fans of the game, fans of greatness, fans of a rookie who just turned the league upside down.
You gotta put it in perspective, right? These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that are offended by that. And there's going to be girls that think she's got to earn it and she doesn't deserve this early. She's handled it great. I think she's performed last year. She's performing again this year. I think she's the rightful face of the NBA.
This is the blueprint. This is how it should be. Not forced, not scripted, just real. Two queens recognizing another rising queen. It's like a Marvel crossover episode you didn't know you needed, and now you want a whole series. So yes, after that game, new fans were born, not just for Caitlin, but for Sabrina and Brianna too. Because sometimes, greatness isn't about how hard you dunk, it's about how gracefully you lose possession and still walk off smiling. That's what sticks. That's what we remember. And that's why this moment was bigger than basketball. It was a masterclass in class, a flex of maturity, a highlight in humility, a whole vibe of validation. And it left us all saying the same thing. Yup, I just became a fan. And that's the thing, Sabrina and Brianna aren't just any players. They're not out here padding stats for highlight reels or chasing clout on TikTok. These two are the blueprint, the standard, the ones who make you question your own athletic career, which, let's be honest, peaked during recess dodgeball. So when players like them, the elite of the elite, give a nod to Caitlin Clark, it's not some hollow courtesy. It's not a let's be nice to the rookie moment. It's professionals recognizing professionals. Artists acknowledging another brushstroke of brilliance.
Just a good performance from Indiana overall. 20 bench points, I think, is one of the differentiators in this game for sure. And you've got to give some, I almost said stick taps. I'm in hockey mode now. You got to give some credit to Sydney Colson and Lexi Hall. I thought they executed very well in very key moments of the game to stunt what the New York Liberty were trying to do. And again, Caitlin Clark leading the way with 32 points. Just a fantastic return to play and exactly what Indiana, I'm sure, was hoping for from their young star.
Sabrina has that sixth sense on the court, that premonition level IQ where she sees plays 2 passes before they happen. She's not easily impressed. She's broken records, torched defenders, and has enough game film to make a documentary. So when she steps back, even for a moment, and shows love to Caitlin, you know it's real. That's not some scripted praise. It's the basketball equivalent of a Grammy winner clapping from the front row while someone else is mid-solo. She knows good when she sees it, and she's not stingy with respect. And Brianna? Brianna Stewart could casually walk into the Hall of Fame right now, and no one would blink. Her game is so polished, it could blind you in daylight. She's not just tall. She plays like someone who is genetically engineered in a lab for basketball dominance. She's faced everyone. If you've ever scored a bucket against Brianna, it probably went straight into your scrapbook. So for her to give Caitlin that tip of the cap, that knowing smile, that "yeah, I see you" look, that's a spiritual baptism into WNBA legitimacy. But here's where it really hits. These two know the grind. They've been the new kid, they've been the talk of the town with expectations the size of Jupiter strapped to their backs. So when Caitlin steps in with cameras flashing and headlines screaming, Sabrina and Brianna don't roll their eyes. They nod. Because real ones recognize the weight of that spotlight. They've carried it. They danced under it. And they respect anyone else brave enough to shine in it.
The thing that impresses me most about her is her ability to step up in big moments. When the bright lights are on, Caitlin Clark is also on. She went off last night for 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, and 7 3-pointers. Now, you guys, she had been out for over 2 weeks with a quad injury, and some were wondering if she was going to have minutes restrictions, how much she was going to be playing, if she was going to be up to full speed, and she clearly was. There was a point during the game where she had 3 3-pointers in 38 seconds, and these weren't just regular old 3-pointers. These were her signature logo threes from feet behind the 3-point line.
You could see it in the way they played her. No gimmicks. No, let's shut her down to prove a point pettiness. They gave her the respect of competition. They guarded her like a real threat because she is one. And after the game, they didn't gaslight, gatekeep, or ghost. They spoke like women who know this league, know this game, and know that when someone's got it, you say it, because professionals don't waste their breath hyping mediocrity. Sabrina and Brianna didn't spend the postgame doing PR damage control. They genuinely appreciated the battle. You don't see that every day. Most of the time, it's ego wars and power trips. But this was chess players congratulating each other on a brilliant checkmate, even if they lost a few pieces in the process. And you have to love the symmetry of it all. Caitlin Clark respects them just as much. She's been watching Brianna play since she was still learning how to shoot on a 10-foot rim. She knows Sabrina's resume like it's a final exam. And now she's out there, sharing the floor, hitting logo threes while Brianna tries not to laugh too hard as it splashes in. That's not a rivalry, that's a mutual exchange of respect. A full circle moment where the past meets the future and throws her a Gatorade bottle.
I think we all knew Caitlin Clark was going to play well tonight in her return game, but 32 points on 50% shooting from 3, crazy. A lot of supporting cast help as well. 5 different players in double-digit scoring. Kelsey Mitchell leading the charge with Caitlin at 22 points for this evening, knocking off the New York Liberty. The Fever are now moving to 5-5 on the season. We are ranked 7th in WNBA standings. We will make the playoffs.
There's something magical about that. Because sports is supposed to be more than just buckets and blocks. It's supposed to be about legacy, about passing the torch without burning anyone's hand. And Sabrina and Brianna aren't gatekeepers. They're welcomers. The "we've been waiting for you" duo. The "you're good, come sit at the table" kind of legends that make the league better by simply being decent human beings. It also says something deeper about their maturity. When you're that good, it's easy to get salty. Easy to downplay someone else's shine to protect your own. But these two, they understand that someone else's light doesn't dim theirs. If anything, it makes the whole room brighter. That's the kind of attitude you wish you could bottle and sell to every rookie in every sport ever. And let's not pretend like Caitlin didn't bring it. She gave them every reason to go full defense mode, yet they still found joy in her success. Brianna, chuckling after that bomb 3, was basically basketball's version of a standing ovation. Sabrina giving that sideline nod like, okay, this girl's got juice, was more impactful than any press release. They weren't just reacting, they were embracing the game evolving right in front of them.
Back as fans and go, you know, this is wonderful. This is great. We get to watch. We have bleacher seats here, and we get to adore these athletes. Look at Caitlin Clark, how she's kept.
Oh, yeah.
Just taken over the country, and for that matter, maybe the world, and how she's encouraged so many young girls now to participate in sports, whether it's basketball or soccer or volleyball. My dad used to always say, the greatest thing about sports is that you learn so much about real life. You learn how to be unselfish. You learn how to be dedicated. You learn how to work hard. You learn how to win. And then you learn how to pick yourself up off the ground when you lose. And that's what life is all about. And so I just have so much respect for so many of these athletes that come along now. And as a fan, I just love it.
Hell yeah.
This is what professional sports should look like. Not a cutthroat circus of pride and power plays, but a space where greatness is respected, no matter who's wearing the jersey. Sabrina and Brianna just reminded everyone that you can be fierce and fair, competitive and compassionate, dominant and dignified, all at once. And can we just talk about how that kind of sportsmanship rewrites narratives? Everyone expected a turf war, a hostile welcome. Instead, we got a masterclass in maturity. A place where talent gets recognized no matter where it comes from. And that's a future worth getting excited about. So yes, let the record show, they're not just great players, they're great people. And in the high-stakes, high-ego world of pro sports, that's the rarest stat of all. You don't measure it with box scores, you measure it with the hearts they win over. And after that game, they just earned a whole arena full.